adventurers, and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited because today we're off to another exciting adventure. Now, you might see this brown sign behind me, and you know I love a good brown sign moment, but this one has a lot of cool things. We're going to be stopping off at one of them, but we're going to have to go on a kind of unimproved roadway to get there, so this is going to be interesting, so buckle your seatbelts and let's get to it. We see the White Mountain Petroglyphs there at the top, 17 miles away. That's where we're going. Now, it's going to take us a minute to get there because the road looks like this. It's not anything special. It's just kind of not great, but not terrible. So they recommend that you go kind of slow on this one. So 17 miles of bumpy road like this. Now, during the winter time, this road is not maintained. So I would not suggest coming out here during that time. But today I'm ready for the adventure, so this is gonna be super fun. Now, I was in Rock Springs, Wyoming, and I was looking for interesting things that you could do. And this was only a short distance away. It's about 23 miles total. And so I thought this was a great way for us to get out and see something interesting, but also something that's kind of unique to this area. Now, the petroglyphs that you can find here are talked about in many of the museums, including the one that I stopped off in Lander and saw. And so I thought I needed to find out a little bit more about this. And so as I came out this way, I was like, okay, this is gonna be an adventure for sure. And as the road turned into this bumpy mess that it now is, I was like, okay, we're gonna have a real interesting adventure. As of right now, I still have cell service. I cannot guarantee that will be the case as we continue going down this roadway though, but I'll let you know when we get there. Now, the wild thing is, my map is saying that I can go up to 70 miles an hour on this. I would not recommend it. Okay, this is the part that rattles your socks off. We're about 5 miles away still. And this section is a bunch more of the bumpiness. Ooh, oh, it's lots of bumps, lots of bumps. I went over a hill and the road that was pretty decent turned into this, which is far less decent. And this is open range area, so there's also a bunch of cows out here. Like, hi friend. Hi buddy. Okay. Bye, friend. There's like 100 of them out here, but that one was closest to the road. But this is pretty washboardy through here, so you're already going slow. But then it being open range, yeah, you can hear it shaking my entire van. Okay, one more mile. There is a road that used to be or kind of exists here, but this is not the correct road. Although you would not know that by the Google map, which said that it was the correct road. Now, the interesting thing is it kind of comes and goes. So it'll be really, really bad, and then it'll be okay for like a couple minutes, and then it'll be really, really bad again. Okay, we made it to our turn, and now 3 more miles. It's time down this road, which looks a little better than the last one, but we'll see. We'll see what it's actually like. Now, mind you, if you have like a Jeep or a big truck, you might not be rattling as much as I am in my tiny little vehicle. But at the same time, this is reality, so I always like to share what's going on. They're like, hey, what's up? Why are you here? And I'm like, hey, I don't want to scare you guys, but I know that my van is going to terrify you when it rattles. I'm super sorry. Hi guys, I don't want to scare you. I don't want to scare you. I'm just going to go by real slow. Yeah, you're okay. These up front were not so optimistic. They were like, nope, we don't really trust you very much. Hi guys. Hi. Oh, look at the little calves. Okay, I'm going to be out of your way now. We definitely don't want to scare them, but I know that the rattling sound of the van probably is not the most settling. They're just out here trying to graze, and the grass right next to the road seems to be much more green and filled with flowers, so they probably really love that. Here we are. We made it to the White Mountain Petroglyphs. This is on the BLM, Bureau of Land Management land, and there is a little trailhead here with some vault toilets. So now I just need to find a place to park, and then we'll figure out exactly where we're supposed to go. Now the drive out here did have a few little areas that were tough because of the washboard, but I clearly made it out here even in a regular van that doesn't have four-wheel drive, that doesn't have super high clearance. It's just one of those go slow things, and just be prepared to kind of bounce around a little bit. Okay, we're ready to go, and we go in this direction, which is where the trail begins. I think this is a 0.7 mile out and back, but I'm not sure, so we're gonna find out real quick. Wow. Guys, I took the trail in, and the trail in is pretty exposed. There's no real shade or anything, and so it can get pretty warm, but as soon as you get up to the mountain, oh, it's so worth it. It is definitely worth it. There are hundreds of little tiny pictures etched into the walls of this ginormous mountain. Hundreds of them. This is amazing. And you can walk across this section over here, just like by the rock face. You can see this is where we kind of came up, and we had to come from way over there. But now I'm walking just in this area. It's shaded, and there's all of these little nooks and cubbies. Look inside these, there's carvings in them too. So it's pretty interesting. Now this is a protected site, so whenever you're here, don't make your mark. These are all drawings from the past. Every so often you'll see something that is a modern letter. That's not okay, guys. Let's not do that. But it's also interesting because you can see the layers of the rocks, and this rock face is huge. So I'm just gonna keep exploring. I'll show you some more, and then we'll talk a little more. Wow, these are incredible. And they're just very faint in most cases. You're not supposed to touch them, so I'm just kind of outlining them so you can see them. This one looks like a letter D, but it has some things through it, and it goes along with these pictures over here that one of these, this one, kind of looks like a person right here. Again, if you look, some of this might just look like the mountain, but then when you look closer, you can see it's an intricate design, and it wraps around this entire face. Now this is someone's etching after the fact. That is a different color pattern, it's a different consistency, and so this was added by a regular person. By regular, I mean a modern day person. The rest of these have a different texture and coloration to them, so you can see them differently, and so you can see that time has aged them considerably from when they were carved. Some of them are so faint. It's incredible to see. Oh, and there's even like a little cave. I am not going in there. I am not. But there's some etchings along the way. Wow! So like this is what the cave looks like on the inside. It's not super deep, but these are the etchings that you'll find on the outside. This is incredible. Now, I'm not sure who has traced over some of these to make them a little bit more able to be seen, but they have like almost a chalky substance on them, and you can see the outline of some of the original patterns in this way. And so some of these designs are huge. They span entire faces, and they're very intricate, and they depict people and animals together, but also a lot of this patterning right here. So I'm not sure what that is significant of, but it's interesting. And then on this one, you can see it starts off here, and it looks almost like little palm branches, and then as it goes up, you see another person who has these palm branches. Literally everywhere on this rock face, everywhere. And some of them are a little higher up. Those are a little harder to get to. So how did they do that? At this particular location, there's no signage to kind of give you the context. So you have to almost go to those museums or do a Google search to find out about the people of this area. And you'll notice that when you do this, you learn about the different tribes that have been in this region long before settlers or fur traders or anyone like that. So these are some of the earliest communications by some of those people. But even with that, they don't know exactly what all of these mean. And so it's really amazing to be able to come out here and just see them in their context. Now, you might be thinking, how did they even find these? Well, that's a good question. According to history, they think that these date back at least 200 years, possibly more. They seem to be a little bit different than some of the other petroglyphs that they've found in other parts of the country where they date them back far before that time frame. So they think that these are a more sophisticated version of the ancient petroglyphs that apply to more modern day tribes. Now, this is a free site that you can come out to. It is on BLM land, and it's about 2/3 of a mile altogether. And it's pretty neat to see, but also put into perspective, because something like this I've seen in several places, and I would like to think that this is a deer because it also has the antlers that come out of it, but this is very different than how they have depicted deer throughout time. Most of the time when you see deer, they're not this large. All of the etchings here seem to be much larger. The etchings are only part of the story. This mountain is also pretty incredible. This is White Mountain, and you can see all of the little places where time has eroded away, and all of the unique little pockets that critters are using. A lot of those little pockets, I have seen sticks and twigs shoved up in there so that the animals can have like a nice little home. So this is a really interesting experience to come out and see. It is definitely impressive, definitely worth all of the washboards because these are so unique. And you can see where people have, again, done some things that they shouldn't have, but along the way you can see stories of people unfolding with unique patterns and designs that tell different things. That was incredible. That was so incredible. It was well worth hiking up this to get. Woo! What an experience. What an experience. That was pretty epic, to say the least. I have been to a lot of different petroglyph sites, and each one is unique. This one, so unique. They range anywhere between 200 and 1,000 years on average for what they have been able to date these back, which is much younger than a lot of petroglyphs at a lot of sites I've been to. Now with that, the difference in designs that you will see here is very apparent. They have been able to deduce that some of these are representing the bison or the elk of the region. However, some of the others, they don't know what exactly they mean. Now, whenever I was looking at them, I could clearly see there are more than a few people represented on that wall, but there are thousands of these overall, so they represent a lot of different things. And many of the times whenever we're looking at these, we're not exactly sure what the story that they're conveying is. So some of the sites I've been to have said that they think that the petroglyphs there were wayward points to direct others in the direction of the place where crops were better or where farming could be possible, and others in way of where hunting is possible. With this one, it was a little harder to tell because it didn't look like there were any scenes of like killing animals. Normally there's some form of arrows that are shown or some form of herds. These were different, these were larger. And so it's really fascinating to see and to wonder what those stories are. Now, a lot of times we are not privy to those stories because those stories are passed down from generation to generation, and even sometimes then some of those stories are lost. And so I think it's a fascinating way to kind of see a piece of the history of this area, but also to see a piece of a people that we may not be able to connect to on a personal level because they may not communicate in the same ways now. So it's really fascinating to come to these places. This one's, again, a free site. I definitely encourage you guys to come out. Brave the road. It is worth it. It is totally, totally worth it. Just take a leisurely, slow drive and don't worry so much about the rattling because, you know, we can always fix whatever's on the shelves, but we can't get back the memories that we don't make. Remember, guys, we are not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time. Find things like this. You might just be surprised how good of a time they really are. I've thoroughly enjoyed today's walk and sharing this bit of history with you, and I'll see you next time. Bye!